What's up, everyone? I'm making this video today to show I made a final table, finished second today in a $1,500 monster stack tournament that I believe goes off at 10 a.m. So I started recording when I got down to the final two tables, and I'm going to just talk about what I'm doing, different things that I'm taking into consideration when I'm making my plays, and hopefully, as you can see right now, I'll pause it real quick. Just going over the two tables left, and 277 people in the tournament. Starting chips were 25,000, so it is a monster stack event. First place $510. So it's a pretty good event, pretty good tournament. I think I typically play it Saturdays and Sundays when I'm home. So I'm actually going to show both the final two tables. It is one five-handed table and then one four-handed table. All right, so right off the bat, guy raises. I three bet about 2.6 times his raise. I don't remember what happened here. Again, this happened earlier, so he actually ships it on me. So this event happened earlier, and I was playing maybe four tables at the time when I made it to the final table here. So I wasn't able to really record at that time because I was pretty distracted. So I just went ahead and recorded it, and then I was going to come back and put the audio on it and tell you what I was doing. So some of the stuff is not too fresh in my mind as far as like what happened. So kind of go through it. So it's pretty typical. I three bet ace two suited, and he shipped it in on me. One thing I will say, sometimes I think that this guy, Fat Buddha, that just shipped it in on me, I think that he made plays on me pretty consistently. And I tend to sometimes think like, oh man, get emotional. These guys are making plays on me. But I think that he probably just had a hand. In this situation, five hand, he probably had ace king, ace queen, and just got it in on me, which is completely fine. All right, so ace jack, probably gonna raise this. All right, so about 2.2. All right, so get a call. Oh, I remember this hand. This dude made a straight flush on me. So it goes check, check, check on a turn. I probably should have started betting, but he bets the river, and just because of the texture of the board and the fact that there's been no action, and he should probably just take a stab at it with like damn near any two after I've showed that much passivity. But he actually ran into a straight flush. So all right, so then the other table busted. We're down the final table. So I'm just gonna give a quick breakdown. All right, so it looks like I'm in fifth place to start the final table, which is kind of disappointing. I was a little disappointed because I was really running over the bubble of the tournament, even the final two tables. I had a huge, I think probably like 1.7 million, and I lost a lot of it back. But just want to go over the texture of the final table. Actually, I can play it real quick, but big stacks to my right, which is good. Another big stack to my left. Actually, two big stacks to my left. And then you got these smaller stacks here, and then this guy who's ready to bust any moment. So because of that, given the situation at final table with ace-6 suited, I made this is could even be a hand good enough for me to raise. But because this guy is so low and I got all these big stacks that I would have to get through, it's just not a good idea to raise there. Ideally, we want to see this guy bust out and move up in chips, or excuse me, move up in money, prize money. All right. All right, so this guy does bust. So now we're down seven-handed. I'm gonna try to speed through a lot of these hands. All right, so I'm on the big blind with about 20. In this situation, I'm looking for a hand that I can reship him all in with my fold equity and get him to fold, or a hand that a top 10 hand to get it in with. Given his stack, I might not have tried to make a 3-bet bluff. It's all real standard so far. I'm gonna pause it real quick just to. All right, so in this situation, this guy is sitting with about 5 big blinds. This guy has about 20. I got about 20. Um, I really can't make any moves right now until like this guy busts out. Even if I had obviously top 10 hands, sevens and better, ace king, ace queen, maybe even ace jack. I might play a raise, but a lot of stuff speculative hands that I may raise with. I'm not gonna mess around with in this situation just because this guy's so close to busting, and I don't want to risk something happening where I bust out and miss a money jump. All right, so the big stack raises. It's gonna go three handed to the flop. All right, bets about a third of the pot in the turn, four to a straight on the board. Let's see what happens here. He fires again. And again, a lot of this stuff, I was playing maybe four tables at the time, so I wasn't really. A lot of this is somewhat new to me. All right, so he raises. Of course, the flush draw comes in at the on the river here. All right, he's on the flush, so I mean, this guy probably had a straight. Yeah, he had the nut straight. That's a tough beat. So that's good. Anytime chips flow to our right and we have position on the bigger stacks, that's a good thing. All right, ace nine. I'll raise this here if it folds to me. I'm pretty certain. Hmm. Okay, I just decided to get out of the way. I'm going to speed this up a tad bit. Okay. All right, so another big hand this guy gets in the middle of. Let's see what happens here. And from what I recall, wow, he rivered the ace on him. From what I recall, this guy Fat Buddha was playing very actively, but he should have been raising this pocket king's hand. I don't know why he was getting tricky even with this small stack in the blinds. I'd just be raising this hand. He let this guy slide in and played the hand too passively, allowed him to hit an ace on the river. I mean, he might have got his money in anyways, but I just don't. I'm not a big advocate of slow playing hands like that in this situation. All right, so here you got a hand that I play. So this is pretty standard. Top 10 hand, pocket tens, big stack raises. He could be raising with any two in this situation. He's got everybody covered at the table. So I just ship it in with pocket tens. Of course, I'd ideally love to see this guy, and this is actually good to talk about. I'd love to see this guy bust out before I get it into playing like any big pots against somebody that's covering me. And then also, I basically pushed him off a hand that I had dominated, but I think that that's fine considering, I just don't want to run the risk, utilize all my fold equity and get him to fold and take down that pot. I don't want to run the risk of getting into a big flop with this guy and having him flop a set and then me busting out in seventh in this situation, especially with this guy so low, because it's very important to consistently move up your position and get paid more in these tournaments. If I'm gonna make a video on ICM, independent chip model. I'm not like an expert at it, so I'm gonna have to review it and research it. A lot of this stuff, I'm just getting back into poker after really taking about 5 years off. And even when I was playing 5 years ago, I was focusing on cash games and I was just playing part-time, 100 max no limit, mostly on global poker. So I'm going to review a lot of the ICM stuff for final tables at tournaments and what things you have to consider. All right, so all in with this small stack, and then there's a pretty big side pot. Let's see what happens here. So he actually rivered. He rivered a full house, which is interesting. I mean, I really wonder what he was trying to accomplish. Obviously, he had this guy all in. Um, was he trying to bluff this guy out of the pot? Well, I mean, he had. Don't get me wrong, he did have a hand with some value, but you're going against the guy with the biggest chip stack, and you really don't want to get into any unnecessary entanglements with him when he can bust you out of the tournament. All right, it's all standard continuation, raise in position, continuation bet. Okay. So, and with this guy's stack, he has about 12 big blinds. I'm either shoving all in or folding. Um, I think that this big stack, he could have just came in and banged him off this hand. All right, so I flop open ended. I go ahead and bet it. Let's see what happens here. All right, bet again in the turn. All right, river comes and I river my 10. I actually think I do remember this hand. Given that he has half of the remaining pot, he could have been on the same draw I was on. He could have also had a queen and just not want to risk it. So I just thought it was the best just to ship all the chips in and put him to that decision. And, there's a bunch of scary cards that came. The flush completed. The ace hit the turn. He could have been on a weak queen. He should have been getting it in on the flop if that was the case. All right, I'm going to cruise forward a little bit here. Ace king, river's a king. Then we got chips flowing to our left, which is not ideal. And then again, we got this small stack that's got about 7.5 big blinds here. All right, big stack raise. In this situation, I'm just playing tight, straightforward. I really can't get into any altercations with these bigger stacks when this guy's like pretty much ready to bust, and he wakes up with kings here. It's interesting, and out of flop the straight. Look at that. Nope. Binks a king. All right, so I if you're playing tournaments regularly, I mean, this guy just doubled up, and he doubled up to 12 big blinds, and he's still the smallest stack at the table. If you're playing tournaments, you got to make sure that you find your spots to get your money in the middle. When you get down to like less than 15, really 15, 12 to 15 big blinds, you got to be looking for your positions to shove all your money in. You don't want to hang around to where you're at 4 and 5 big blinds just hoping somebody else busts out. All right, so check the flush draw here. He bets it out. Let's see. All right, so I 4x him. I probably was ready to just get my money in. This guy limped under the gun, or he probably doesn't have a 3. And, if he's on the 10, that would give me, say he had ace 10 or something, that'd give me the 4 outs for my overcards plus a 9 out, so 13 outs 2 times. I think I'd have been 52% in that situation if I'd have just shoved it all in on him. All right, so now I got a double belly buster. Just bet it out. He should have been, with his chips, I mean, he should have been betting more. He should be playing more aggressively. And you'll see that This $10 tournament is going to be played a lot more passive than you would see at a bigger tournament. The bigger tournament, if these guys with this many chips, especially position, he's going to be playing a lot of pots when he has position on the other bigger stacks. I'm still being cautious here, even though I got over 30 big blinds. I'm still being very cautious. I actually remember this hand, and I think that I just wanted to see what this guy would do by raising his Jack 7. I just wanted to test to see if he was going to play back at me or if he, what he was going to do, just to kind of see what I can get away with. All right. So raise from the big stack. All right. So maybe this guy was planning on doing a stop and go the whole way because, yeah. So with this guy with ace queen, I don't know what his plan was. I'll just give you some quick scenarios. If he was intending on just calling, trying to hit his ace or his queen, and then getting it in, this is a very bad idea with the amount of chips that he had. There is something if you play poker regularly and you study the game, being able to realize your equity. So I mean, look at this guy had ace 10. He had him dominated, and he should have been looking to just get his money all in. So say if this guy had pocket tens, pocket jacks, nines, eights, sevens, you're only a coin flip if you get all five of these cards out. So at a final table, six-handed, you got to just look to get ace queen in with his chip count. I mean, if he was looking to just call that, if he was looking just to call and then see if he hit something and then get it in, it's just a very bad idea at that situation. So just be mindful of that. You want to make sure you realize your equity with those types of hands. Ace king, ace queen. They're only a coin flip against under pairs when you get all five of your cards out in the middle. All right. So oh, all right. Sorry about that. Kind of getting familiar with this replayer. All right. So I believe the first hand back. All right. I'm just gonna go ahead and play it from here. Well, I'm currently second in chips, but it's kind of misleading. With me, these three guys, we all have similar stacks, about 30 big blinds, a little bit less. Okay, so this is standard. He shoved pocket tens with about 10 big blinds. Obviously, pocket aces is going to get it in. So that's completely standard. Just kind of an unlucky for this guy to run into aces, and then now this guy's gets really hot. So he's throwing together a couple big hands in a row. All right. So I'll probably raise this. I'm gonna have position on these two guys. All of our stacks are pretty close to somewhat identical at this point. All right. For some reason, I checked behind with two overs and a gut shot. Not sure why I did that. Maybe just something that I was kind of feeling out this time. He bets out the turn and decided to call it. Then he hits a 10. He bets out again about a third of the pot. I call, and it's a split pot. All right, interesting. I should have been taking advantage of that hand in position. Okay, let's see what's going on here. All right, so he raised and then he shipped it all in. That's he could have been raising anything really. So all right, now this guy's starting to chip up a little bit. Okay, I get a walk here. That's great. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna pause real quick. So, given that this guy to my immediate left has 2.2 million, has me covered by a million. He's by far the biggest stack. I'm still gonna be playing very tight. Um, if say the stacks reverse and I had 2.2, I'd probably open this 3-2 here and just try to take a hand in position against these guys. But I'm not gonna do anything like that. I'm not gonna get too far out of line given my stack and the stack to my left there. All right, let's see. Over bets the pot on the river. Interesting. He might have had he did have a jack. So that's not a bad over bet. I mean, if somebody had six or maybe a middle pocket pair, they're probably going to end up just having to pay it off. All right, so I got pocket tens first act, and it's obviously going to be a raise. Given my stack, just a tad bit over 20 big blinds, I'm probably going to get it in with anybody. It's too hard. Pocket tens at a five-handed table, you're going to have so much equity against anyone you play against in that situation with their shoving ranges. All right, so I actually turn a full house here. I believe I do remember this hand. Bet out a quarter of pot. Then river a full house. And I believe he bets into me. Okay, so um, if he was deeper, so he bet 436 and he has 206 behind. If he was deeper, let's say he bet this 436 and that effectively would be like a third of my stack, but he had like maybe another million behind where he covered me. I wouldn't have re-raised him here because the reality is you're just not going to get paid off by many hands that have you beat. I got tens full. The only hand that has me beat is quad threes. He might pay you off if you ship a lot with if he had an overpair, but he's probably not going to pay you off with just a nine. So I only shipped it in on him because he just had so little behind there, and I felt that maybe he would just flick it in, which he probably had a draw. Maybe he had queen jack or something like that. He was just bluffing at the river. All right, so that's good. Now I got 2 million chips. And I'm still just gonna be playing pretty tight with this big stack to my left. I don't want to get into a bad scenario where he's got position on me in like a big pot. Although I probably may even raise his hand here or just call him. Even with the big stack, like none of these guys are really playing it as optimally as they probably should. All right, let's see what happens here. Um, I think I could have considered three betting this dude and just getting away from it if he ships it in on me. But nobody wants to bust out in these tournaments, so playing very aggressive is always going to be beneficial to you. And most of these people probably don't see situations like that where they're getting three bet a lot. And for all you know, this is a $10 tournament. This might be the biggest tournament that most of these guys even ever final tabled. All right. The 10-9 suited, my stacks are just not big enough to call even in position on him. So I feel like that's either a situation where I'm going to three bet or fold. And we'd have a close to pot committed person in there. All right. Let's see, I do bet this out against this guy. Another situation, if he had me covered in chips, I may have just checked and gave this up just because Fat Buddha's over here with 110,000. And he's going to bust out any moment and we're going to get a money jump. So I wouldn't really want to get into a situation where I'm playing a big pot against somebody with more chips than me and position on me. All right, so he raises. This guy's going to get it in. So I call here. I believe I do remember this. I think I bet the turn. Yeah, turn two pair. And a lot of people they'll get into that mindset of, oh well, you got a small side pot. This guy's all in. You want to jump up money, but I want to protect my hand too. I mean, these guys could easily have a flush draw. They could maybe have deuce king or deuce jack, and they could run into a better two pair than me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bet this, and pretty much I have them drawing dead in the turn, which is great. All right, so we're down to four people now, and I'm the chip leader. Unfortunately, we're still in that situation where the guy to my left has about the same amount of chips as me, just a tad bit lower. All right, so now I start. Um, I'm pretty much representing his whole stack with this three bet. And since I got so many chips, I would be pot committed against him, likely if he shoved. But he's probably only going to be calling me with a very tight range in this situation. So I believe this was around the time I started to pick up some of my aggression, and flop a flush draw, 250,000 in the pot right now. I'll make about a half pot continuation bet. All right. So I'm starting picking up some pots here. 8-3. I'm just gonna get out of the way. I don't want to be in a situation. These guys have a stack where they can re-raise all in. All right, 10-3. It's gonna be a pretty easy fold. Out of the big blind here. All right, so let's speed this up a little bit. All right, so he shoves all in, but 19 big blinds approximately. This is a situation where he's probably, yeah, I mean, that looks like an ace king type shove. Maybe even ace queen, ace jack would make that type of shove. So for 20 big blinds, I'm going to be calling with a top 10 hand at best. Maybe the lowest I'd call was. And I got my bet sizing a little messed up here. All right, so I raised the button. All right, so I make a small continuation bet, about a third of the pot, just because it's such a dry board, and I don't really need to make a crazy type bet. So I am going against a bigger stack. I do have position on him, which is good. And I go ahead and I got fire a second barrel. Calls me. Now there's 4 to a straight. And he actually turns a 7, so yeah, I mean, calling with ace high on this board, that's not a bad call. And obviously he turned a 7, hit a 3-outer, but I mean that's pretty standard. Unfortunately, he's got picking up more chips to my left. Okay. All right, Jack 10 suited, min raise, and then a shove all in. So don't remember what happened here. I would say with this raise and then a shove for about 15 big blinds, I probably would be calling him with like top 10 hands. He's probably not shoving, given his past history. I don't think any of these guys are shoving too light when they get their money in the middle. All right, so very interesting situation here. Ace queen suited. I'm going to be out of position against a big stack, so I mean it's going to be, yeah, I just go ahead and check it. And I mean this guy's playing pretty passive anyway, so he bets the turn. I call. It's a pretty low board. And I don't even remember what happens. Okay, so he checks back, and I think I win this hand with ace high. All right, let's fast forward a little bit here. All right. This guy should be raising like any hand he raises. He should be ready to get it all in with. So bets half pot. See, gets called. All right, so this guy made a straight. So and this guy, he raises out of the in the cutoff seat here. This guy's just got to be more aggressive and blast him off his hand. He really just let him catch up with that straight draw. I think he bet the he check called the flop and then check the turn, if I'm not mistaken. But I would just check raise them all in. Given this situation in a tournament, I mean, this guy he can have. I mean, I would not raise queen nine there, given my stack size. I'd be waiting for a top 10 hand. I'm not going to raise and fold in any situation. But given his range, with this guy, even though your kicker sucks with king three, it's just too much value just to not ship him all in and potentially like win that pot. All right, so they get it all in. This guy had a straight draw to six, and this guy had top pair with the same straight draw, so he was free rolling this guy over here. So all right, so we're down now three handed. All right, so some pretty good content so far as how I approach these final tables. Probably going to be a fold right here. Okay. All right, so queen nine suited. I go ahead and raise. Continuation bet. Now there's no reason to make a crazy continuation bet here. The board comes ace, jack, jack. I mean, there is a flush draw, so it's not a completely dry board, but you don't have to get crazy with a continuation bet. If he doesn't have any of that, the way these guys have been playing, he's probably not going to be floating you. Yeah, keep in mind, again, this is a $10 tournament. It's not like we're playing like world-class players or anything crazy. So part of being a good poker player is being able to play to the level of competition that you're at. You don't want to do advanced stuff when these guys are playing very simple and over folding in situations where they should be calling and floating you and things like that. All right, so limps in. I got 10-9. I just make a position raise on him. All right, probably going to send up folding. Okay, give him a walk. All right, king nine. Just go ahead and raise this. Get heads up with this guy. Flop a king. I'm likely ahead here. So I go, it goes check, check on the flop. I check call the turn. And then I check behind them. And this is fine. The board, the river came scary with queen's pair, the flush draw completed. He checked and he was on the three the whole time. So if I would just bet the flop, I probably would have lost him anyways. All right, a6 suited. Let's see what I do here. All right, I elect just to call. All right, flop an ace. Okay, bets it out. All right, so I check behind. Now he bets half pot in the river. I'm just going to call. And he actually makes two pair. So they're yeah, so maybe I mean I could make an argument I should have raised raised a flop. I was really in that situation playing with the other guy that can bust me. I was just trying to keep the pot very small. Um I may have made a misplay there. It is what it is. I'm going to make a lot more of them. All right. Let's fast forward a tad bit here. See what happens here. Check. All right, so a wheel pretty much completes in the river here. He bets out 60% of the pot. All right, he just decides he lays it down to him. So, all right, queen eight on the button. I elect to go ahead and raise this. Get called. I'm sure I'm gonna continuation. Oh no, I check behind. All right, so I hit the queen, and it completes a flush draw. He could really have anything, just betting out because I played that flop passive. And he checks the. All right, and I go ahead and check behind. There's no. I don't think there's anything wrong. You're not going to get value with a queen with a kicker that's not even playing in this situation. So they're he's probably not going to call you with anything that you beat. All right, so he raises. I'm going to call him in position. Flop second pair. Bets out about a third of the pot. I'm going to go ahead and call him. And see what happens here. And he bets out half the pot. It's probably just going to go ahead and fold this here. Yeah, okay. All right, so I'll go ahead and 3x a raise and flop to 6, second pair on the board. He calls me. I think I remember this hand actually. All right, so check. He bets out half pot. I call. And I bet like a quarter pot in the river. And I get him to fold. I mean, it's just a weird line. He really could have. He really could have anything being in a in position. Let me rewind this back real quick. Start this hand from the beginning. All right, so I 3x it. He calls me. All right, so I bet the flop, and so he floats, and he could just have 2 over pairs here, or 2 over cards, excuse me. Check the turn. He bets out. Now I just call him. Now the river completes that flush draw. He called the flop, so I mean he could really have anything. I mean I just figured that I didn't want to put myself in a position where I had to call a big bet. So betting a third pot in that situation, if he raises me, I know for a fact I'm way behind and I can just get rid of it. But then if I check to him and he just bombs like a million, like a full pot bet, I'm in a really bad situation, and I'd probably end up having to fold. So I think that's probably my reasoning behind why I did what I did. All right, so I raise 8-7 on the button. Get a 3-bet from this guy. It's pretty. I think this is a pretty easy fold. He's not even with position. He hasn't been doing anything too crazy, and so this guy goes ahead and calls him. See what happens here, and he just ships it all in on him. Oh wow! All right. So again, a lot of these hands. Again, I was playing a bunch of tables at a time, so a lot of these hands I don't really remember a whole lot. But I mean that's a cooler hand. I think this guy with King Jack, he should probably be. I don't know what he started the hand with, but he should probably be looking to, yeah, with his stack, he should just be like shipping me in pre-flop. So let's see. Well, I guess it wasn't that bad. So blinds are 3-6, and so I'm gonna make a standard raise with 8-7. I would probably with King Jack. It's just so tough. You're gonna raise out of position. You're gonna put a lot of money into the pot. Let's say I make it. Play it so. I make it 133. So if he comes and makes it like 350,000 or something like that, that's gonna put him down to like 900,000 left. And he's gonna be out of position with the pot almost being the same as pretty close to his stack to pot ratio, pretty close to 1-to-1, about 1.5-to-1, I would guess. I'm not like the best person at math, but it's just too tough to play King Jack like that. I would just use all my fold equity and I would just ship it all in pre-flop, especially I don't want to be out of position against this guy. I think probably the second best option is to fold it. And so you see, just to give you an example, so he goes ahead and makes it 446,000. And this guy's just going to flat this bet with King Jack. I mean, he's basically playing bingo. But look, like what I said, imagine if he didn't have this king or he didn't hit his jack. So, I mean, he basically like hit his hand. But if he didn't hit his hand, this guy comes out and just bombs like whatever, ace high. Say this board came out 10-4-4. And even if he just had like ace queen or something like that, that's a good hand for his ace queen. He just comes out and bombs it and sets them all in. This guy just basically wasted 500,000 chips in his hand, 400,000 or whatever it'd be. Again, I would just get it all in pre-flop or fold it. All right, so let's see. So and then he just goes ahead and ships it in. I mean, I guess in a certain way he got unlucky because this guy made four 3/4s, but it's not as bad of a beat as he thinks it is. That's the reality of it. It's just he played that. I think he played that pretty poorly. All right, so I start the final table. He's got a million more chips than me. All right, so first hand he raises on the button. I'm three betting with king eight suited. All right, so go ahead and make a continuation bet on a queen high board. Let's see what happens here. Oh, I remember this hand. All right, so he raises about three times my bet, and I think the reason why I did this, I just shipped it all in on him, is this is such a dry board that the hands that he's going to proceed for me making a bet like this, it's going to be your sets, so fours, tens, queens, and ace queen, probably king queen. He'd probably get it all in with me. But I mean, I just don't really foresee a situation where ace ten, he's gonna after I three bet him pre-flop, and the flop came out queen 10-4, and he check raises me, and then I three bet him all in on the flop for the stacks that we had. I don't foresee a situation where he's gonna call with a 10. So I'm gonna get him off a lot of hands given the way that this went down. That's why I just went ahead and shipped it in pre-flop. Obviously, everyone always says the all-in works every single time except for one. I mean, it is what it is. If you're going to go deep in tournaments, you got to put plays on people at times. All right, so go ahead and raise. Try to speed this video up right now. I'm coming up on 40 minutes. And all right, so flop a gut shot with a 6-high flush draw. I call, flush draw hits, check behind, and I believe I pay off this river. Yeah, and he has a queen-high flush. If he didn't have a flush, I mean, it's possible he would be just trying to bluff at the river. So I pay him off, and it's no big deal. All right, so I'm still the chip leader, but not by a whole lot. All right, so he 2.5x's pre-flop. I call with queen 4. Checks. He bets almost 3/4 of the pot. I go ahead and get away from it. All right. So 8-6. It's a pretty good flop for me. So yeah, just regular continuation, but I'm always gonna continuation this bet. I think that some people might slow play like an 8 and maybe see if they'll get him to put some money in. I think that your hand's too vulnerable. He could have king jack, king 10, queen jack, things like that, and just run into like a pair to beat you. So I'm just gonna always just try to use my fold equity and take the pot down right then and there. All right. Continuation bet a third and a dry board. The 8 pairs. Half pot bet. All right. All right, now I level up, so I 3-barrel him on this. Let's just watch this one again. So maybe my reasoning behind this was just this is a very dry flop. He could have had this guy's called me with a bottom pair before, I believe, so he could have had a 4. I go ahead and bet when the 8 pairs. I mean, it looks good. Let's say he does have a 4. It looks good for his hand. So he calls me, and he's gonna call. Let's say, for example, he has ace 4 or jack 4 or something stupid like that, 4-5 suited, and he decides to call again. So now when this board runs out, and in this situation, I probably just said like, well, he's probably not going to check the trip 8s on the river, as well as not check raise a turn. He'd probably lead out the kings. He'd probably re-raise or raise the kings on the flop. So it's probably my reasoning here is why I bombed this river for almost like 90% and got him to fold. So I mean, obviously he folded a better hand there, but you know it just is what it is. Heads up, you're going to be making plays like that. All right, so 2.5 X's. I got Jack six. Pretty much calling heads up with like most of my range. And to be honest, I'm not, as far as like I'm concerned. I mean, I never really consider myself a great heads up player. Most of my heads up experience has come from tournaments, and just not like a lot of experience playing deep stack like cash game heads up things like that. So there's probably some leaks in my game. I'd love to probably get some coaching on that in the future and maybe submit these hand histories to see what other people think about what I'm doing. All right, so third pot bet on the turn. Don't remember this hand. Checks. I'm gonna check behind. I got a two, so he had a seven with the diamond draw. Then turned. Well, no, he didn't turn a straight draw. Excuse me, but yeah. So he's probably just playing it pretty cautious in position. I mean, we are pretty deep here, playing heads up, so you don't want to get it too out of line with a hand that isn't the nuts or very close to it. All right, so I make a straight here on the turn. Bet about a little bit more than half pot. All right, let's move forward here. All right, so standard 2x raise. All right, so all right, turn the open-ended straight draw, but into three diamonds. And actually, river is straight. I remember this hand, so I go ahead and bet it 450,000. I don't remember if he paid me off or not. He does. Okay. So to give you a quick spoiler alert, I mentioned this at the beginning of my video. However, you may have missed it. I do lose this. I finished second in this tournament. I'm probably going to put that in the title as well. So, all right. So, betting out the two, turn a flush draw. Oops. And ace on the river. Check to him. I'm not sure what my plan is if I pay this guy off. I just go ahead and fold bottom pair there. So obviously he's calling with something. Whether it's a draw or not, I just didn't feel like bottom pair was good enough to try to bluff catch in that situation. All right, so I raise. He three bets me. I'm gonna play pretty tight in the three bet pot, even heads up. I just haven't seen a lot of like crazy aggression out of this guy to not give him credit every time he three bets. So obviously heads up. Even me saying that heads up, he's still gonna be able to three bet lighter, but I'm not going to do anything too crazy. Can't believe I lost this heads up. I got this guy down 2-1 on chips. All right, so 9-7 suited. I make a 2x raise. Let's see, he goes ahead and he 3x's me. And I call in position with the 9-7 suited. Maybe I'm just thinking of how I can take that pot away later on, or maybe hit big, something like that. So let's see what he does here. All right, so 320,000, and I pretty much just represent this bet represents an all in for him. And wow, so he had pocket aces. All right, so did turn a gut shot. Obviously had any 9 or 7 or 8. So what was that? 3, 7, 9 outs. All right, so that's how he. So I I mean 9-7 suited in position even against his three bet. And again, this kind of goes back to my read. I mentioned that this guy has not been doing anything crazy. So a couple three bets that he's had pre-flop, and then obviously the one time he shows down aces. So he's probably been playing pretty tight. All right, so flop a gut shot. Probably gonna make a 1/3 continuation bet here. See what happens. No, let me check raises to me. I gotta go ahead and get rid of it. All right, so queen nine, call in position. Decide to bet my gut shot, and then all right, so he call with ace high in the turn, and it goes check check in the river, and he wins. All right, so ace four, I just shoved it all in. I mean, I think if you run that in like a simulator, I don't know if you use these card odds calculators and different things that you use for pushing in folding ranges, but I got 15 big blinds. Obviously, like a hand with a lot of value. Heads up, he's gonna be calling me with a lot of different things, and if I don't hit my ace, I'm gonna be put in a lot of position with already investing a good portion of my stack. So that's why I just tend to just shove it all in that situation. Maybe a better drawing hand like a queen jack suited, I would have made my standard 2x raise. All right, I don't know why I checked that. So interesting. I should have just went ahead and bet out that two pair. Now I'm obviously in a weird situation where I got to bet call a half pot bet. Um, I call. I mean, he has king high, but this is if you just shoved me all in, I would have had to fold. So I really don't know why I didn't play it a little bit more aggressive. All right, now that I have like 18 big blinds, I can make the standard 2x raise a little bit more comfortable playing deeper, just doing that. All right, so we 2.5x's. All right, so this is the hand that ended it on. So he raises, or excuse me, he bets. I check to him. I check raise him. I got a second pair with a gut shot, backdoor flush draw, and pretty much I know I'm gonna get all my money in on this hand. He re-raises. I go with it, and so I don't think he should be re-raising and shoving me all in unless he feels like there's a possibility I'm gonna fold, and I don't think there really was that possibility. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this back. So um, all right, so I check. He bets 200,000. I raise it to 600,000 with 1,300 behind. I mean, I guess. Um, I mean, ace four. Let's say he did think I had like any piece of this. Say I even had a three, so he'd have three aces, four sixes, that's seven, and then he'd have his three fours, that's 10. So he'd have 10 outs going against me, 40% equity. And I guess if you couple that with how much fold equity he has, if he thinks he can get me to fold anything, I think that that's probably a pretty dicey all in. But so he does. He turns the ace, and that's that. So that's the end of the tournament. This was the 10 a.m. tournament, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Global Poker, and I think it's a pretty good tournament to play. It is a deep stack tournament. So typically Saturday mornings I go train Brazilian Jiu Jitsu at 9 a.m. Get my sweat in, and then come home and I play a bunch of tournaments. So went deep in this tournament early on, and I was happy with that. So profited like $370, $10 buy-in. I think the final table was 380. So good little score. Didn't have much success in any other tournaments today, but I'm getting back into the grind. I'm going to make a bunch of these videos. Please, if you have any comments on it, like, subscribe, and send me your comments, and send me any type of videos you want to see me do. Really looking forward to getting back into poker and putting a lot of time grinding. So, all right, I appreciate you watching the video, and take care.